It's Lindley Oz, January 8th, 2014. And I came across something interesting after my latest post about Orion and the Giza pyramids. And I'm going to give both perspectives on it, okay? But it was the perspective that heaven is behind Orion. All right, so I came across this article here on the Spectrum, and this guy is writing about it. And he first mentions a vision by some woman that had some vision of Orion and a dream and so forth. And he goes on to say that the young pastor who's telling him about this, he's in charge of the junior meetings, had more to say about it though. He told us that astronomers had studied the constellation Orion with powerful telescopes. What they saw there was a hole in the sky. That in itself was startling. But as they looked deeper into that hole, they saw bright lights and the dim outline of a fantastic scene with colors and movement. The implication, he may have said it straight out, was that one could almost, but not quite, see into heaven and make out the holy city. Recently, I was reading the autobiography of Joseph Bates, which is, by the way, an interesting book, by an Adventist pioneer who was quite a colorful character. In chapter 12, Bates, an amateur astronomer, writes, "But the most remarkable of all the cloudy stars," he says, "is that in the middle of Orion's sword, where 7 stars, 3 of which are very close together, seem to shine through a cloud, it looks like a gap in the sky, through which one may see, as it were, a part of a much brighter region. Although most of these spaces are but a few minutes of a degree in breadth, yet since they are among the fixed stars, they must be spaces larger than what is occupied by our solar system, and in which there seems to be a perpetual, uninterrupted day among numberless worlds which no human art can ever discover." And it goes on to say that James Ferguson was a great astronomer in his day, but his day was the 18th century. Ferguson had a Christian faith, but it isn't clear to me that he meant the same thing that Joseph Bates took from that passage, much less the fantastic embroidery that was added by Adventist storytellers, and is talking about a gap in the sky in the Orion's belt. So basically, I came across quite a few articles that talk about heaven being behind Orion's belt, and I will place some videos I found about that in my article as well. Now here's the other one I found, and this is on the opposite end of things. It talks about Orion actually being, the place behind Orion actually being fraudulent, created by Satan. It says, "I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet," and then another verse, "yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." Isaiah 14:13b through 15. And this author, Sherry Schreiner, talks about how it will be one of the greatest deceptions ever. And then let's go back down to here. It says Satan's seat in the heavenlies is located in the constellation of Orion. Now let's go from the whole pyramid, the Giza pyramid scenario. We could say that those 3 Giza pyramids line up with Orion because Satan was trying to duplicate heaven, aligning it with Orion because, well, he knew that's where heaven was. And they tried to mimic that. Or we could say that his seat is in the heavenlies and it's located in that constellation. And his Nephilim who serve him are trying to get power from the throne of Satan. There are orbs or planets within this constellation around the belt area. Don't look to NASA to give you any meaningful info about space. It is their job to keep the real truth that they know about space from getting out. Satan mimics everything Yahweh does, and yes, we know that he does. He's a master manipulator. He likes to manipulate. He's a fraud. He likes to masquerade and take everything God has done, everything God has made, and make his own rendition, okay? In Revelation chapter 21, John describes the New Jerusalem that will descend to earth after the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ. Lucifer has built a mimic of this city that Yahweh has described, and Lucifer will attempt to bring it down to earth via propulsion systems to deceive mankind that he is God. Lucifer wants to be worshipped as God, and this will be one of the greatest feats and deceptions he has ever pulled off on a world blind to his lies, trickery, and the games he plays. Of course, Lucifer could come up with something more along the lines of what the Illuminati would expect, or even a decorated UFO to hover over Jerusalem. And it's got a picture of it here. You can see. But Lucifer is the master of deception, and he wants to be like God through a word from others and things I kept seeing in the codes I couldn't explain or understand. It all finally started coming together. Lucifer was building his own mimical New Jerusalem, and he wasn't just building it for the future. He already has it. It is his home in the heavenlies now. When I finally understood what was going on, I researched it further in the Bible codes, and I saw the term egg-like. And when I saw this picture, it was perfect. Describes perfectly what I saw in the codes. And then she has a picture here. I'm sure the actual New Jerusalem itself will look different than this picture. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what Lucifer is going to do. He's going to bring his home closer to earth and hover above Jerusalem, and the Most High is going to allow it to test the people on earth. It is a masterpiece of deception. Crystal City is also referred to as Crystal City is also referred to as Ark. It is one of the habitations of Lucifer and his fallen angels. The coming Messiah, or Christ, what we term the Antichrist, will come from this city. This coming Messiah is a deceitful, phony fake. And then they've got a screenshot of the Bible codes, something to do with the Matrix. Okay, Nibiru, Ark. Messiah, Messiahs, Messiah, Christ, Messiahs, Christ, Almighty, demonic, ghoulish, fraudulent, bluffer, rogue, swindler, cheat, deceivably, phony, fake. Then it says here, the New Jerusalem. Satan style. It is demonic and ghoulish. I'm not sure why the term Nibiru crosses through the main term Crystal City. Perhaps Nibiru is the Crystal City, or perhaps it is just associated with Nibiru. So right here, it says Crystal City, Jerusalem, Nibiru, Almighty, demonic, ghoulish. Same thing here again. Crystal City. Crystal City. Anuk, like Anuki, possibly. Jedi, dynasty, habitat, household, home, established, house dwelling, verse, Omegan. Many of those adept in the occult at the very highest levels have been invited to this city of rainbow, crystals, and gold. It is an ancient secret. There are portals on the earth that allow humans access to this city. One such portal is alleged to be located in the Supreme Court building in Belgium. It is called the Palace of Justice in English and in French, the Palais de Justice. It is the Supreme Court building for Brussels, Belgium. The infamous Beast computer is also alleged to be located in Brussels, although rumors speculate it has been moved to NORAD in Colorado. Remember that Satan said he would build his throne in the sides of the north above the Mount of the Congregation. Is that Crystal City they have seen in space in the north, brilliantly lit up with the colors of the rainbow? Isaiah 45:7 says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Maybe this will be part of the strong delusion sent from God. Remember, God's city will come down and hang above Jerusalem after the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ. Crystal City is Satan's counterfeit for what God is going to do. Now do you see why he has a Crystal City to come first, to fool people into thinking he really is God? Okay, so we have two sides there. We have one story telling us, beware of this thing, and it even mentions Nibiru. But be aware of this thing. This is not of God. This is a strong delusion sent by Satan. So will something that is going to fool people come down from Orion, and people will think that this is the Christ? Or is the real heaven truly behind Orion? There's two different stories, so who knows? I know one thing: all of us better be getting our lives in order and getting our hearts and our minds in line with the will of God, because these things are going to happen very soon. Those who mock and scorn, you are just like the people outside of the ark when Noah was building the ark, and they laughed and they made fun and they tried to discredit him for what he was doing. They thought he was crazy. You are just like them, because guess what? The flood came just like Noah said it would, and that door slammed shut, and those same people were beating on the outside of the door of the ark, begging to be let in. But an angel of the Lord had closed the door. It was too late for those people, and they drowned in the flood. I pray that you who are just like those people will realize the truth and open your eyes to what you're doing before it is too late, because those of you who are intentionally working for the enemy to dissuade and discredit people like us who are trying to warn people, you are in for a huge, huge surprise when you kneel before God. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I pray for you. Thank you very much, and God bless.